Is it early over there, Jason?
You're very welcome to episode 88 of Soccer Cards United. This is the Soccer Card podcast, and literally 30 seconds before we came on air, I said good morning. It's not the morning for me; it's the afternoon for me, but it's the morning, very early morning for my co-host Enzo. Enzo, good morning.
Good morning, Jason. It's 7:30 here in the great twin cities of Minneapolis and St. Louis, or St. Paul.
Yep, one of them, St. Paul.
St. something. I didn't go there, so Minneapolis. Fuck it.
All right, you just stayed. You said, yeah. I prefer one of the twins.
Yeah, I knew who I liked, and I said I'm sticking with that twin.
Very good. How are you this morning? Did you get much sleep?
Not too much sleep last night, to be honest, but it's because I have a lot of flights today, so I kind of like tiring myself out so I could sleep on the plane and not have to experience the plane.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I had to be up early so I get this podcast in and I could get to the airport in good time because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Good to do that. Will you be glad to get home after a busy few days?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be lit. I think I want to rest. We have some orders for Soccer Cards United that I need to fulfill, Jason. So there's a few things that need to be done, and I reckon I'm arriving in Dublin at 5 a.m. So I reckon I'll sleep on the plane prior to that, and I'm literally just going to be starting my day at 6 a.m. when I get home.
Okay.
So I'm into it.
Very good. Here's something that happened to me. I was in town yesterday evening. My girlfriend was away for the evening, so I said, I'm not going to make dinner here. I'm going to go into town and just have a nice little relaxing dinner.
Oh, nice.
In one of my, favorite spots, and I'm in there, and
you're not going to disclose where you were?
No, I'm not going to disclose where I was. I don't want people staking the places out,
Yeah.
So then I literally it just comes, and I'm at the table just about to start eating, and our Soccer Cards United Twitter DM buzzes, and it's Mike from Sports Card Nonsense. And he said, hey, there's 3 soccer releases coming out this week. Can you give us 10 or 15 minutes to talk about them? And I was like, yeah, sure, just let me know what time and I'll see you on Thursday. And he was like, no, we're for Monday's show. And I was like, oh no. So I had to just quickly wolf down maybe a third of the dinner, jump in a taxi and head straight back to Soccer Cards United Studios.
That's some dedication.
I thought to myself,
what am I doing here?
Do I need to do this? But I wouldn't like them to be talking about soccer without me. Wouldn't like to make myself redundant,
Yeah. You have to show up, he said.
Exactly. You only need to miss one, and all of a sudden you're replaceable.
You're not the guy. Wow.
So, so if anyone wants to hear, we're not actually covering it on today's Hobby HQ, but there are 3, we think, releases coming out this week for soccer, and that is Bundesliga Stadium Club Chrome, Premier League Prism Breakaway Configuration, and Premier League Mosaic. And if anyone would like to hear about those, you can go and listen to Monday Sports Card Nonsense, where I am appearing to talk about those releases. We're not going to cover the same ground here today.
Okay, love that. Give it to the other. Give it to our non-listeners. Don't give it to our listeners.
Yeah, but it did occur to me when I was there, and I was really getting in the weeds about Premier League Prism and Premier League Mosaic. I was really getting into a lot of detail and talking about it, and the checklists and the rookies and why it wasn't good, and they had me rate the sets out of 10 and all this stuff, and it made me realize, I was like, we would never do this on our show.
We'd never rate it. We'd never get into detail.
We'd never because we just kind of, the Premier League license, we just kind of go like, it's a train wreck, it's a car crash.
Yeah.
It's no good. We don't want it.
You don't need to give it a 2 out of 10.
No, exactly. Everyone knows. But then I wondered to myself, I was wondering this while I was talking to them. I was like obviously, like all the people that, listen, like, and have listened to the show for a while, know how we feel about certain things. But you often wonder, like, people that come in just to listen to 1 or 2 episodes, and they might be like, oh, Premier League Prism, maybe they know who we are, Premier League Prism came out in a new configuration. I'll listen to this podcast about soccer cards and see if it's a good buy. And then we just blow right just blow right past it. And they're just like, why are they talking about his restaurant experience instead of one of the biggest releases of the soccer calendar?
Listen,
Listen.
we do our own shit over here.
That's right.
Can I say, in this beautiful city, I experienced VCon. I'm not going to get into it here. I might do it next week because I'm just tired. We've shit to do. But I did bump into a few listeners. Some listeners drove out to me for like an hour and a half to bring me to a card shop, motherfuckers. So I just want to say a big shout out to Jake. Less of a shout out to Jake's brother, Jason, because he stopped. These are from Australia. He stopped listening to the podcast. He got busy in his little life and he stopped. He said something about the editing. And
no, he didn't. No,
I'm telling you. And
no.
they actually said something way worse about you, but I'll get into that.
But you'll tell me off air or on air?
I do you on air, Jason. And then a big shout out to Alex, who drove up and drove me and my friend Ernesto. Big shout out to Ernesto to a card shop, 3-star sports cards. They were honest. They said, listen, we're not the best sports card shop. We're about 3 stars. So that's them in Minneapolis. We bought some wax there, Jason. I got a little something for you.
Oh, very exciting.
Shop. And I got a golf set, the Tiger Woods rookie set. I seen that and I said, you know what? I like the look of it.
Upper Deck 2001.
Yeah. And also Alex gave us some gifts. I'm going to give you that live on air next week. So
Great.
Just shout out to everyone. I had a great weekend. I might give people some VCon shit next week just to talk because there was some sports involved.
I think we'd like to hear your kind of
now.
No, not now. Next week. Gather your thoughts because you know what? A lot of stuff. I always think like sometimes when people are telling you about an experience they just had, they have a tendency to go into lots of unnecessary detail because it's all fresh in their minds. Whereas a week later, you'll have kind of parsed out the interesting parts from the less interesting parts because you're only going to remember the best of the best. Yeah,
I'll say this thing though. One of the crypto hardware wallets, Ledger, Jason, which I bought you a Ledger if you remember that well.
I have it. Yeah.
They did a really cool collectible collaboration with VFriends, right? So they made a special edition Ledger. There was only 555 of them. You had to scan a QR code to get a POAP, which is a proof of attendance protocol, right? Blockchain shit. And you were entered into a raffle, and if you won, you were able to buy it for 150. People that got it were selling it for 1,000. The shit was crazy, right?
Right.
And then they're like, you get an email. I said, cool. And then people are like, oh, did you get the Ledger? I whipped out my email, nothing. I said, fuck, suck my dick, pissed off. Seeing people selling them. Tried to buy it off this European girl. I was trying to give her 700 for it. We were trying to meet up, wasn't happening. Then I found out, Jason.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers, to announce the winners, just tweeted a link and said, oh, the list of winners are here. I went in, I was a fucking list of winner. But it was over. The event was done. And even though, Jason, you would think with the blockchain and with the proof of attendance protocol, they can still prove Enzo Patriarca is the winner. We can still sort you out. I think they're kind of backdooring us saying these things are on for 1,000 now. Them motherfuckers didn't claim it. We're going to have it because they're just acting like, nah, you missed a chance. So I'm sad about that. I thought it would have been cool to have. I couldn't buy it for 700 knowing that I had the opportunity to get it at retail of 150. I was like, nah, I can't do it now.
That was like you.
That's my only gripe with that. My only issue. What went down this weekend, Jason? My only issue. And
that was your only issue. That's an excellent.
Here's one.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of Steve Aoki facts for you, Jason.
Right. Okay.
The important part of this shit. Did you know? Would you believe? This is what I'll say. Would you believe if I told you Steve Aoki owns the Guinness World Record, right? For the longest distance traveled and most cities toured in a calendar year. Would you believe that Steve Aoki is the person who's been everywhere in a year?
I would believe that Steve Aoki saw that record and said, let me just construct my way to this.
Yeah.
That's not a record that it's like, oh, Steve, do you realize you're the most traveled artist this year because you're in demand worldwide? He starts.
It's not being in demand worldwide. I'm telling you.
No, he starts at the record and he says, what do I need to do to have another tiny piece of relevance?
That's why we see him everywhere.
Yeah.
And the second bit, Jason, to scare us all, because as if he's not already the man that's everywhere, right? He doesn't just want to be the man that's everywhere while he's living, Jason Flynn. Did you know Steve Aoki has already down payment? He's done it. He set it in stone. When he dies, he's not being buried. He's not being cremated.
Right.
He is being cryogenically frozen because he is banking on technology getting so advanced at some point that he can get his motherfucking ass back on tour again in the year 3000 and just terrorize the world more with more Steve Aoki, chrome, neon nonsense.
I think Walt Disney is cryogenically frozen as well.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Do you think you'd
Yeah.
get cryogenically frozen, Jason?
I'm not sure they would have I think my feet would be sticking out the end of the chamber. I'm not sure they make it in my size.
Damn, there you go.
But no, cremation for me, I think.
Jesus. Oh yeah, the fans, the listeners, they said that you seem like someone who fuds a lot.
I don't know what that is.
It's fear, uncertainty, doubt. Fudding is essentially scaremongering. So in the NFT space, if someone's kind of like, oh, I don't know about that product, oh, I don't know about that NFT,
oh,
so they put you down as a footer.
I know what they mean.
Kind of sits there and scaremongers everyone and kind of just goes, I don't know.
They mean I'm capable of critical thought. Yeah, that was
saying,
unusual to them. They're like, very weird. He doesn't just accept everything that everyone says to him. Like, I don't know what's going on. He's questions.
Oh my God, my alarm went off. That was my panic alarm in case I didn't wake up, but your boy woke up.
Well done. You've done really well here. Do you want to save the rest of it for next week?
Yeah. I'll gather my thoughts when I'm no longer talking about Steve Aoki.
Good. Are you going to have time for breakfast after this?
Don't know. I'm not really planning to get breakfast, to be honest. I want to go to the airport, check in. They wouldn't let me check in online. I want to try to figure some shit out. Maybe try to get some... funny thing about Minneapolis, it's not really a tourist city, right? Because I wanted to get some fridge magnets for people and stuff like that. There was none. They're like, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, this is really... Unless you work here, you shouldn't be here.
Like, Minneapolis, like, the fucking venue was amazing, but then the city was kind of amazing because it wasn't New York. It wasn't LA. There wasn't, like, loads of shit to do. So everyone ended up after the show just being like, where's everyone at? And then everyone was in a pub.
Yes,
so that was cool.
People weren't distracted by sightseeing and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, there was nothing to say. Nothing to say. Great city. I remember I was at a bar. I was at a restaurant, and a girl came up to me, like the waitress, and she was like chatting about Minneapolis and shit. And I said, "Yeah, no, it was good. Like, I definitely wouldn't come back." And then, like, I realized, I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" I mean, well, she lives here and she was like born and raised here. I was like, "Oh my God." But then I saved it. I said, because, I've never been to the States. I'll definitely go to LA next time. Like, I won't be back here, for a while,
Yeah, it'll take you a while to work your way.
Yeah, back around.
Yeah.
Now people thought, like, I've been to Vegas, I've been to Minneapolis, and then we're going to New Jersey. When I told people that, they're like, "What are you doing? Like, you're doing it all wrong." I'm like, "No, I've gone to events for each one. Like, it takes an event to get me over here."
Yeah, I'm not just touring the place. I have a...
No.
You're not Steve Aoki.
I'm not Steve Aoki. That's what I try to tell them.
Yeah. Right. So then will we crack on into the show?
No, I have one more story, Jason.
Go ahead.
Right. I enter day 3 of the conference, right? I'm getting my name tag. I'm ready to write it down, right? And then the security guard is giving hassle to this woman who has loads of, like, food bags, right?
Yeah.
And, like, goodies. She has supplies, right? So as it turns out, she was one of the vendors and she was trying to bring that shit to her team. She got the bad job because they needed 2 people for that shit, maybe 3. But she had the bad job. They sent her out to get the shit, right?
To get supplies to keep them snack filled throughout the day.
A fucking 24 set of bottled water, those motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
And she had 3 big bags, and I was like, I looked at her, and I couldn't even comprehend how were you holding 3 bags and the water, because the water was on the ground at this point. The security person was like, "Hey, you can go ahead," and I see her trying to, like, do it all, and I said, "Hey, would you like me to give you a hand?" At first, she was like, "No," and these women in crypto is the same as women in STEM that they don't want no help. You know what I mean? And, but listen, right? Then I was like, no, I can give you a hand. And she was like, "Oh, great, cool." And then we're chatting. I'm carrying this motherfucking water, and it was like halfway across this big ass stadium. This shit was heavy. I was regretting it. I said, I just went about my business. There was a talk on. I was missing the talk. I was like, whatever. I bring it, and she was one of the World of Women, which is like one of the biggest female run NFT, right?
I know.
Right? So, of course, And I bring it, and I drop it there, and I just say, "You're welcome." Like, she said, "Thank you." I said, "You're welcome. Have a great day." Went about my business, right?
Right.
After this, I meet loads of people this day at the event. We're all having a great time, and everyone's saying, "We're going to World of Women after party today." And I said, "Do you need an NFT to get in?" And they said, No. No. I said, "That's lit." I ran back to my hotel to shower, change, and then meet back up with them. The time and it all worked out perfectly. I get there, they had just gone up, right? I go up to the desk, and I'm like, "Yo, I don't have." They were giving out wristbands. I was like, "I don't have a wristband. Can I get in?" And they said, "You need a ticket." And I said, "Cool. Can I get a ticket?" And they said, "No." And I look up, and it's the girl that I helped.
Wow.
And I said, Karma, yeah, full circle. I said,
full circle.
Hey there, I haven't got a ticket. Is something I could do? And then she just went, "No," and then just walked away. And I was like, "You mother." fuck? I said, what the fuck, right? So Jason, I think maybe you'll see. I don't know if you were keeping up to date with my amazing Instagram, but I lingered in the lobby. I plotted.
Yeah.
Three Europeans said they found three bands in a bin. I said, yo, can y'all
count on the Europeans to be scrounging around in the in the trash.
In the trash. And I said to the Europeans, I said, yo, there was three of them. I said, can you go up? Can one of you take your band off, give it to your mans, bring it down for me? And when I go up, I'll give it back to you. And then two of them were like, yeah, but I got you. And then the one guy started footing. He was like, oh, you better look in the bin, check the bin.
What kind of Europeans were these?
Eastern, I think.
I
don't know where they were from.
Right.
I didn't have a chance, but I thought these are my brothers. They were just in the position I was in. They just came through. They're going to look after the boy. I waited a few minutes. They didn't look after the boy. You know what I did? I went up to the reception, Jason, and I got a bottle of water. I got a bottle of motherfucking water.
Oh, you used
Jason.
the Dasani label.
I used the Pisani or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, the Dasani label. I stuck it on my wrist. I start sweating. The motherfucking, like, there was some like big motherfuckers going in, like Beeple, who's like the biggest digital artist. Like this after party was lit. The fucking bouncers were not fucking about. I was sweating bricks, and I had my little thing. I had long sleeve. That's what helped me. Right, I had long sleeve. And I just gave them a little bit.
Give them a little taste of the wristband.
And they said, yeah, go on in there. And I said, motherfuckers. Then I started avoiding that girl who I helped with the water because she knew I didn't have a ticket. So I was like, ooh, you don't see me. It was free drink up there, Jason. I'm Irish. Your boy was going through Manhattans, whatever the fuck they are, all night. It was great. So that's it. It was an amazing experience. But fuck me. I honestly looked, when I seen that girl, I was like, tunnel vision. I looked at it, I said, wow.
This is brilliant. This is like a story I'll tell on the podcast. And it'll be so, yeah.
Believe that. I said, I literally was just trying to be nice. I wasn't thinking of any, I was like, there you go. And I said, what a beautiful full circle moment.
Yeah.
And this girl was not having it. So I don't like that. There you go.
That's good. That's good. You should report her to Gary V because she did not follow the rules of kindness.
Yeah. Listen,
you know, she's not practicing gratitude.
No, she was being a bit of a bitch, but I guess she followed the rules. Maybe that's good.
Who knows?
Who knows? Not me. Okay, let's get into the show because I do need to get to the airport and figure out how Indianapolis works.
Right. Well, I wanted to say that the Champions League Chrome. This is time for Hobby HQ, our hobby segment. Champions League Chrome checklist came out, and I have written here the UCL license is back, and this time it's even rookie year. There are even more rookies than there were in the UCL flagship set. So one of the things we had with this year's flagship, which is the first year of flagship, and this year's rookies in general, was in flagship there was a load of rookies that were kind of like, who are these guys? Like, we're kind of used to, you know, your Erling Haalands, your Ansu Fatis, your Jude Bellinghams, your Florian Wirtzes, who play, who you can kind of see week in, week out. And now we're, you know, kind of talking about Cole Palmer and you know, Hannibal and people like that. Yeah, they're kind of going like, well, I don't really know if you count as a senior player, you know. And then to kind of add to that, on the Chrome checklist, they decided to add even more rookies, which is quite strange. So there's a few people in from Sheriff Tiraspol, who were in the Champions League, beat Real Madrid, I think, at the Bernabeu in the group stages, and a lot of them are like older players that just have their have an RC because it's their first time, because of who they play for. The Jordan Pefok, the young boys striker, who's in Switzerland, has an outside chance of being
scored a big goal this year, I remember. Yeah,
so he has an outside chance of being the US starting number 9.
I think he scored against Man United. I think that's it.
Oh, I think he did. That was a last minute goal, maybe, or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So he's in there. He's 26 and he has like other stuff in the past, but they've just given him an RC, so I wouldn't really focus too much on him. And then you have a few like the likes of Robbie Savage's son, Charlie Savage, and then a couple of other. Let me see here. You know, PSG, Barca, Liverpool midfielders that you won't really have seen in and around senior teams, but you might have heard of. No one stand out basically, but just there's a crazy amount of rookies. Is this the right? Do you think, is this the right strategy? Should they be? People are clamoring for rookies.
Yeah.
Should they just be reaching into the depths of the under 23s and under 19s of these clubs to find the rookies?
Don't think so, to be honest. You could argue like, Jesus, what are they going to do next year? Because some of these are the players that would be big rookies next year, and you're kind of taking them out of the game early.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you could also argue that some of these players are never actually going to make it. So now it's the only time you could give them a rookie, because next year there'll be a different person in the under 23s that's actually better, and that guy might not even make it into a top 5 team or whatever. It's hard to know. Listen, it is hard to know. We love rookie prospecting, and I think there's a huge problem with that in soccer because it doesn't really exist. So maybe they're just doing what they can to kind of give people something to chase. You hit a 101 of a player that otherwise wouldn't have been in the checklist. Now you're kind of invested in his career and you're hoping. And I'm sure at some point one of these will come good. But yeah, probably make your own product for that, maybe more so than
maybe a Bowman or something.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, maybe a Bowman, to be honest. But then where does that leave Champions League year in, year out? I feel like
you could have a Bowman for the UEFA Youth League.
For sure.
And then you could you could say then like when you make your first Champions League appearance, you get into Chrome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was saying yesterday on Sports Cards Nonsense that like we were shouting about last year, the Jude class. We were just spent the whole year just shouting at people and saying like there isn't going to be a better rookie class than this, maybe ever, but certainly not for a long time. And yet prices from 2020, 21 are still, people still go, oh, did they print too much? Like, it's surely we're seeing this year now, and we will see next year and the year after, the year after. That Jude class does not come along. That was a particular cocktail of circumstances, including COVID and finances and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so every time I see now a new checklist for this year, I just makes me think more fondly of last year.
Yeah, no, you think of Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, Musiala,
Adeyemi, Moukoko, Wirtz.
You have the Tillmans in there as well, low key.
Yeah.
Low key, chilling. Gravenberch, I believe.
Noah Lang, Charles Ketelaere.
There's more. Like, we're not even thinking of them all. There's more.
Yeah. So, something to think about. And then, yeah, so there also is going to be, as far as I know, a Chrome Light configuration.
Yeah.
For this one. So I'm really excited about that because that's a way you can like get into the product without having to, go full hobby box, but also without just having a blaster. I mean, the hobby light boxes are 4 cards per pack, 16 packs per box. And they have 4 black and white Ray Wave parallels, which from F1 Chrome Light, the Ray Wave parallels look really good. And if we know Topps, last year they had blasters for the first time, and the blasters were absolutely stacked.
So you're saying Chrome Light will be fire, probably?
I wouldn't put it past them to maybe, let's say, favor Chrome Light in the collation process. Obviously, don't know, but just based on how the blast, every time there's a new product, it seems like, or a new configuration, it seems like a lot of fire comes out of that. But I don't know. It's just a
conspiracy theory, Jason. That's what that is.
Conspiracy theory, yeah, exactly. So then there's actually lots and lots of football stuff to talk about. So, we're going to move straight on to your football week. And I want to talk about, Enzo, the biggest thing in your football week, and maybe in your football year, maybe in your football of the last 10 years, last 11 years. Because maybe apart from Italy winning the Euros.
Italy winning the Euros, Frosinone getting into the top flight.
Yeah.
But
this definitely ranks as top 3 moment, maybe.
Yeah, listen. Italy winning the Euros was nuts, but AC Milan
are champions of Italy. Yeah.
10, 11 years since we last won it, when Zlatan was last at the helm as well. Incredible final day performance. Jesus Christ. That first half was fucking nuts.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, Milan went to Sassuolo and recorded a convincing victory. If you heard the podcast last week, we were sitting here very much speculating as to whether or not Milan were gonna mess it up because Sassuolo are so dangerous and on their day can beat anyone. But I suppose if it's a team where you're like on their day they can beat anyone, the flip side of that is some days they just disappear entirely, and some days champions arrive who are confident and who just put on a confident. Like I was saying to you after the game, like that's what like championship teams are made of, is that you turn up, you know what you have to do, and you just win.
Yeah, no, like Rafael Leao was unbelievable. Sandro Tonali was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
The full defense was amazing. The goalkeeper was incredible.
Yeah. So Mike Maignan,
no, don't get me started.
He's the Serie A goalkeeper of the season, and his stats this season are 32 games, 17 clean sheets. And we should also give a shout out to Tata Shranu, who was a keeper there for middle of the season. But Mike Maignan has just been a revelation. He was goalkeeper of the year last year in France, and he won the league with Lille. Then he comes to Milan. His goalkeeper of the year.
A 10-year drought for Lille winning the league.
Yeah.
He comes to Man, he goes, I'll sort that drought out as well, boys.
So he's just an amazing young keeper. And sooner or later, you imagine he's going to take over the France #1 spot from Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, you'd have to say it. And it's good as well because we had Donnarumma. That was such a love-hate relationship. You know, such a talented young keeper, especially leaving just after the Euros, and we all got to see how incredible he was.
Mm-hmm.
But he was problematic as well. You know, he was problematic in the dressing room. He was problematic around. There was drama that Mike Maignan came in, did the exact same job, top quality keeper.
Yeah,
the whole team, like, to be honest, and it did. Like, you can't underestimate the impact Zlatan had. I've said that. Like, they really did. Obviously, Stefano Pioli needs respect, but I do believe Zlatan's fucking energy in that club. Like, he got 8 goals, I think 4 assists in 23 games. Like, he's still performing. Like, he's not able to play week in, week out. He's not able to play for 90 minutes. But when he scored a goal, but Leao was offside, like, that would have been beautiful. Like, he's good as it, like, just beautiful. Rafael Leao was the person I'm most impressed with, though. You know, he was a player that people used to always ask me, hey, Enzo, Rafael Leao from Milan, what's the story there? And I always said, to be honest, he's not so consistent. He doesn't have the final product, really. You know, he was that kind of a player.
Yeah, he's a bit wishy-washy.
He's fun to watch, but he's kind of going to fuck it up. He's gone to another level. I think he got the player of the year in Serie A this year. I'm pretty sure. Fucking quality. And he got a hat-trick of assists, and they were like, he was causing problems yesterday. It was beautiful. Beautiful. There was beautiful scenes. Shout out to Milan Club Dublin. There was amazing scenes in Dublin that I missed out. I'm sad that I missed out on that. I just the scenes in Milan, incredible as well.
I think you mentioned Stefano Pioli, obviously manager of the season this season in Serie A, and like you look at what he's done there. When he took over, was a burst of energy, and then they were thinking about replacing him with Ralf Rangnick, and then they didn't, and then this is back, I think, in winter 2020 maybe, and he signed a new contract and was able to fold in, Zlatan was able to fold in the likes of Giroud, but you're also managing difficult situations with Donnarumma obviously leaving. That was a tough situation, but to bring Maignan in, and then people like Franck Kessié, who, I mean, he's leaving in the summer. He's going to Barcelona, but to be able to make his story mostly go away. I mean, and he almost felt like Pioli was kind of demanding of the fans and of the club to, like, all this stuff about Kessié leaving and Donnarumma leaving and all that. We can do that after the Scudetto is run. Is won. That's not what we're here to. No more infighting. No more bullshit. No more banter era Milan. This is like, we're going to win. I mean, I look at the team that he sent out against Sassuolo, and you have Olivier Giroud up front, obviously world champion, who came in, and again, a big personality. That we see that with Giroud's exploits in France. He's convinced of his own ability. He's a very proud player and a very good player, but to just take him, fold him in seamlessly into the team, get goals out of him, get performances out of him, and manage the personalities. But then behind Giroud, you had Rafael Leao, who, I mean, no one knew he was capable of this. He kind of seemed like a busted flush, You had Rade Krunic in behind, again, proper squad player, can play a number of different positions, but is always happy to play, always plays his heart out. And you have Alexis Salamaker starting on the right wing as well, who might be a bit of a, in fairness, like, he's not great, but he's, Pioli, like, to take a team that has such a wide spectrum of talents and personalities and achievements, and to compare someone like Olivier Giroud to someone like, who's a world champion, who's played in all these finals, won all these trophies, to someone like Junior Messias, who a few years ago was a bricklayer, in Italy, had just come from Brazil and worked his way up and came from Crotone. And you have both of those players who have a huge, in terms of pedigree, have worlds apart, and to fold them both into the team, get goals out of them, bring through these young players at the same time, deal with somebody like Zlatan who can be a dominant figure, deal with all the business upstairs in the boardroom, and shout out to Maldini as well. I just thought it was an incredible thing, and it also goes to show that lesson of big clubs like AC Milan are never that far away from recovering their position. You know, if you're a huge club like that, we saw the celebrations. Like, as Zlatan said in the changing room afterwards when he was giving his speech, he said, you know, he was saying, this isn't just a case of, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, this isn't just a case of now, you know, obviously Inter won the title last season. This isn't just AC Milan taking back Milan. This is AC Milan taking back Italy and taking back Italian football. And so we're kind of set up now for a title race next year, again, between Inter and Milan, and kind of resurgent Juventus. And it's just, I think it's great. I think Serie A, compared to when we started this podcast, and certainly when we started podcasting about Italian football years ago, Serie A is in such a better place now.
You know, it's beautiful. And you have to add on to that, Jason, and say a club like Milan, we get Champions League football a few years back, we're able to attract bigger players because of what the club is. So now we've won the league. We're like Mike Maignan, like, he probably wouldn't have went to Milan a few years back, even though Milan is Milan. Like, we had to start improving. Like, that was he could have got a big move to any club the way he performed in France. So being able to attract in players like that, Olivier Giroud, convincing him with a project over here as well. And like, who are we going to sign next? You know, like, I've seen a list of potentials prior to winning the league that weren't amazing, but you know, I wouldn't have been super hyped about Messias, but he came in, he did a job. And keeping players like Theo Hernandez is so key. They wouldn't even give him a shout out yet, really. Beautiful to see. I'm excited to see us being competitive in the Champions League and to fight again for the Scudetto and try to have an era of dominance again with this really young team. And it just, Sandro Tonali, one for the future. He's finally performing. You know, he's got through his early rough patch. He almost scored a cracking goal against Sassuolo as well. Yeah. He's just going to keep getting better.
Great. And shout out to Tomori as well, who along with Tammy Abraham has had a great season for the Englishmen abroad.
And Kalulu as well.
Kalulu as well, yeah. So then, speaking of gripping title races, Manchester City were crowned champions of England for the fourth time in 5 years. A bit of a shock on the final day when they went 2-0 down to Stevie G's Aston Villa, and it looked like Liverpool might just overtake them and pip them at the post for the title. But Steven Gerrard's team slipped and conceded 3 goals in 5 minutes, and Manchester City, from goals from Rodri and 2 goals from Ilkay Gundogan, I believe. I think so.
I don't know if Gundogan got 2. I'll double check it.
But I think it was 1 from Rodri and 2 from Gundogan. Anyway, City did it, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh, is Pep going to really mess this up? Is this, you know, there was 2 goals from Gundogan,
Yeah, it was either side of Rodri's goal.
Yeah, so, like, you're kind of watching it going like, oh my God, Man City are going about this the hard way. And then it's like, hang on a second, Man City don't really go about things the hard way in the Premier League. They saved that for the Champions League. And then bam, bam, bam. Oh yeah, it's 3-2, grand, okay. And yeah, I think there's 2 things here. Liverpool finishing a point behind City is like, if you look at the gap between Liverpool and the next best teams, you know, so the Chelsea, I suppose, like, imagine Liverpool weren't there, or weren't, you know, under Jurgen Klopp, or weren't like their squad wasn't planned as well as it is and all that stuff, or if FSG hadn't spent the money in Liverpool, like, Man City would just be completely dominant within English football.
That's true.
And like, people talk about other leagues, you know, like, but Man City are four times champions out of 5 years in England, and you rarely hear anyone talk about, you know, it being a kind of a one-horse race, because Liverpool are so good. But like, so it just makes you appreciate it, I suppose.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, kind of concerning, because are Man City good because Pep Guardiola is amazing, or are they good because of the Qatari funding? Because at some point Liverpool will drop off. Will Man City just never drop off because of the money?
Well, you say that, Enzo, and I actually have a picture that I was retweeted by Hoops Collector on Twitter, but talking about the potential Man City drop off. This is from originally from Simon.
Man City drop off with Alvarez coming in.
Exactly. It doesn't look likely. So Simon Bajkowski tweeted this on Twitter. It's a picture of 5 Man City players of all age groups. Mm-hmm. And so on, starting from left to right, you have Nico O'Reilly with the Under-17 Premier League Cup, which they won this year. Rico Lewis with the Under-18 Premier League Trophy, which they won this year. Fernandinho with the Premier League Trophy, which they won this year. Shea Charles with the Premier League 2 Trophy, that's Under-23s, which they won this year. And then Lakyle Samuel with the Under-16 Premier League Cup, which they won this year. So Man City won the Under-16, Under-17, Under-18, Under-23 and Senior Premier Leagues this season. And so it just looks like this is a team that has unlimited resources, unlimited funding, and unlimited ambition, more importantly.
Yeah.
So scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I also want to mention that Liverpool obviously had an amazing season. I think Liverpool are probably the most dominant team never to dominate English football. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like it's a bit of like Andy Murray syndrome, you know, where like you're at your peak, but unfortunately there's someone that's just a little bit peakier even than you. So Mo Salah,
they have the Champions League. They have the Champions League trophy. They could be getting another one. They have one Premier League.
They could win a treble. If they win the Champions League, they'll have gotten a treble this year, which is, you know, amazing.
Treble just with 3 cups isn't as amazing, but it's still amazing.
But I mean, it's almost like Liverpool and City are
both so good. 1 point off the league.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's, I don't know, it's crazy. And Mo Salah came off the bench and scored a goal, and Heung-min Son scored against Norwich on the final day. And so Mo Salah and Heung-min Son share the Golden Boot this year with 23 goals apiece. I think Erling Haaland will be looking at that and saying 23 goals wins you the Golden Boot in England last season. I think I can have a go at that. But Heung-min Son scored as Tottenham qualified for the Champions League, so they'll be back in the Champions League next season. But he's the first ever Asian player to win
Golden Boot.
The Golden Boot in the Premier League.
Damn.
So you look at like Sonny and Salah, you know, one Asian player, one African player. It's like these are like global icons. So like as card collectors, like I don't know, like these are if the hobby was truly global, like these are like crazy. These prices should be crazy, and Heung-min Son's prices are crazy in fairness, but
high end cards.
I think Salah's are just a little bit.
That's weird because he has Africa and he has Liverpool, which is not a small fan base by any means.
No, not at all. No, I know. So that it is weird. I don't know if it's just maybe like card collecting is more prominent in Asia than it is in Egypt and in Africa. So and in Liverpool maybe, I don't know. So yeah, and then in transfer news, not the big transfer news, that's coming later. But in transfer news, Leeds stay in the Premier League this season, and it looks like now that Brendan Aronson, the American attacking midfielder, will be joining fellow American Jesse Marsh in Yorkshire for a deal worth 30 million euros. So we have another American in the Premier League, we think.
Is that not the third time he'd have brought Brendan Aronson with him? Am I often saying that?
Yeah, he brought him from the Red Bulls. No, he brought him from the Red Bulls to Salzburg. And then
he's going to bring him to Leeds.
That'd be the second time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, either way.
Either way, yeah. He likes him basically.
Yeah.
He sees something. So that's exciting. So hopefully we have another American in the Premier League. Although I did see that Christian Pulisic has taken Chelsea out of his Instagram bio.
Ooh.
And changed his profile picture to one without a Chelsea shirt on.
Oh, he's spicy.
So he could have one in, one out in terms of Americans in the Premier League.
Big balls.
He does, yeah.
I'd take him at Milan.
Yeah, I say you would. He's better than Alexis Salamakers.
Absolutely.
And then we also had another huge final on Saturday, which was the Women's Champions League final. Now, we have Women's Champions League Chrome coming out this year, so that's going to stoke some more interest in women's soccer. There's nothing like a hobby product to make people go like, "What's this? Like, who are these cards from? What are they about?" And then in reverse, go to that's what happened with men's soccer. So, it was exciting because it was the two teams were Lyon and Barca. It was held in Juventus' stadium in Turin, and Lyon are 7 times winners or something of the Champions League, and Barca had just completed a perfect domestic season. They'd won every single game in Spain this season, and are largely thought of in the last year to have been the best team, relative to their opposition, best team in world football. And so it was like almost, and they'd won the Champions League the previous year. So against Lyon, it was almost like they're going to win 2 Champions Leagues in a row, and the balance of power is going to shift completely in favor of Barcelona within European football, women's football. And Lyon scored 3 goals in the first half hour and won the title. Ada Hedeberg and company saying, "No thanks, you're still just noisy upstarts."
They're saying the Spanish Women's League is a farmers' league. Is that what they said?
That's what they're saying. They're saying, you may very well slap Real and Atletico week in, week out, but we're Lyon.
Yeah, we have the experience.
With the experience, we've won this trophy loads of times. We were winning this trophy before you had a professional soccer team in Barcelona. So it's going to take a bit more than that.
Damn,
so that's exciting. There's nothing like a great rivalry. I think to like wherever
there's European rivalry.
Great European rivalry, but like whenever there's a sport, like if I'm just watching a random sport and I'm looking at it and I'm not particularly interested, if you just tell me like, see that guy and that guy, they hate each other, I'm instantly more engaged.
Can I say I was watching, I don't want to fuck it up, it might have been the Mavericks against someone, Golden State Mavericks, maybe that was it. I actually think that was it. It was Steph Curry versus fucking Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
And I was watching that and it was great and Steph Curry wasn't having it.
What do you mean he wasn't having it?
It was the game in the series. I think it's 3-0 to Steph Curry and gang. That's the thing. I'm like, to me, it's Steph Curry versus Luka because those are the ones I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, that's for a casual fan or for someone that's just watching it as a spectator. You kind of have to like pick like your avatar. Like, you're like, who am I seeing this game through?
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know what I had in Minneapolis, Jason?
No.
That day to watch that. I was starving. It was Sunday and everywhere just closed. Chipotle closed. I was like, what's going on? Everything's closed. A Mr. Beast burger.
A Mr. Beast burger. What's that?
Do you know the YouTuber Mr. Beast?
Oh, he has a series. He has a chain of burger shops. Yeah.
I don't even think it's shops. I think you can only order it delivery. Like it's some shit like that.
Oh, okay.
A really good burger.
Right.
So shout out to him.
Shout out Mr. Beast. Struggling young YouTuber. We can hopefully send some traffic his way.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, there's a little shout out for him if he's a hungry boy from his struggling restaurant because he needs the cash.
I actually forgot to bring something up on Hobby HQ that I have to bring up.
Okay.
Because last week we talked about Leaf suing a athlete for not signing redemptions.
Yeah.
And we were wondering what athlete it might be. Well, we now know what athlete it is. This is from this is from NBC Sports. This is like, I love this when you search a hobby news story and it's crossed over from like hobby news into like sports news. That's when you know.
That's like when Hobby HQ ends up inside Your Football Week, which is exactly right now.
Yeah, it's just a crossover event for the ages. So this is from NBC Sports. CD Lamb sued by trading card firm for breach of contract. A trading card company is suing Cowboys, speaking of Dallas, Cowboys receiver CD Lamb for breach of contract. Leaf Trading Cards accuses Lamb of failing to fulfill an agreement to autograph cards to the company. The Dallas-based company filed suit in Denton County, Texas. Oh my God, they're suing a Cowboys player and they're from the same city. This is like a local dispute. So our favorite hobby CEO, Brian Gray, from the spiciest hobby CEO in the business. By the way, will you tell us what Josh Duber was like next week?
Yeah, I will. I actually have let me tell you what Josh Duber was like.
You have something on that?
Oh,
I'm excited. I'm excited for next week's show.
Jesus Christ.
So Leaf CEO Brian Gray said on Twitter, We hate doing this, but customers need defending here. Thanks, Brian Gray. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to go on. The company is seeking damages and attorney fees. In the filing, Leaf asked the court to serve Lamb with the suit at his home or in the Cowboys' offices in Frisco, where Lamb is expected to take part in organized team activities this week. Wow. So CD Lamb, a receiver, an NFL receiver, is being sued. So it's not a soccer player.
Yeah, it would be weird. Like, I think if you get like if I'm another player and I see this man getting sued over this, it would make me hesitate signing the contract to do anything with a card company.
Yeah.
If them motherfuckers be going all the way to lawsuits.
I know.
No, obviously, but at the same time, you have to fulfill what you agreed, you know?
Yeah. I'm looking at CD Lamb cards here. They're not even that valuable.
Leaf are trying to set a precedent.
That's right. They're picking on a smaller player.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying it's not. They're saying like it's not about the money. It's about the principle. If they can prove the principle in this case, then they can make it about the money.
Well, this case is going to be a very important case for sports card companies.
Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. And of course, I think they're just suing him in Texas, or maybe even just in one particular part of Texas. So like this has a long way to go legally, but this could be the first ever Supreme Court trading card case. Yeah. No. So then, right. Speaking of athletes and all that, huge earth-shattering news came out of Paris this week when we heard that Kylian Mbappe, the new face of the sport, world champion, and best player in the world by many people's estimations at this stage.
He's 23 or something.
23 years old, expected for a couple of years now to fulfill his ambition to play for Real Madrid. He wanted to go last summer, as PSG wouldn't let him, and he said, "I'm not going to Real Madrid. I'm staying in Paris."
Damn.
So Mbappe, since we started this podcast, we had always talked about Mbappe and Mbappe's cards and Mbappe's card prices and all that stuff as being inherently linked to eventually he will move from PSG to Real Madrid. We can't really think of a time when a player of this profile has turned down Real Madrid at this stage in their career. This is like a huge moment in potentially in the history of European football, because it has always been that if you're a player that wants to play for Real Madrid, when they come calling, you drop whatever you're doing and whoever you're playing for, and you go and you to the Bernabeu and you do it for Real Madrid. But Mbappe in his interviews has said, "I'm French, I'm from Paris, this is my club, this is my city, this is my country. I intend to stay here and build this club in my own image," basically. There's been talk that they're getting rid of the sporting director, Leonardo, whoever they bring in afterwards. They've told Kylian Mbappe, apparently, this is all just hearsay, they've told him that he can influence in a kind of a late era Messi at Barcelona. He can pick, various sporting aspects and contribute along those lines. He's been seen at youth games and all that, like since he was appointed, emperor of PSG,
emperor of France.
So he now has when you have literally like the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, said, "I've spoken to Kylian several times, I've asked him to stay. It's important for the country that we have Kylian Mbappe here, because they're hosting the World Cup, I think, in Paris, or not the World Cup, the Olympics in Paris is upcoming. Obviously the Qataris want Mbappe at PSG for the World Cup, this season, or this year, I should say." What did you make of this, Enzo? What do you think?
It's crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it? It doesn't even make any sense.
No, it's insane. I think this could just be kind of the new era of what it's going to be like with the Qatari and et cetera, Saudi regimes, is that it's not really about the money or the player, the age, the influence. It's kind of like, this is the guy and we have infinite money to play with, so we want the guy. We don't really give a fuck about anything else.
Yeah, I mean, like Nasser Al-Khelaifi, the head of PSG, he was saying, like, the funny part is he was saying, like, oh, there's a club in Spain that can pay a lot more than we can, and that'll pay Kylian more than me. But he has something more here, and it's like, yeah, here he has like access to unlimited. He might not be getting paid more like on paper, but he has access to unlimited resources to do whatever he wants. Like, you know,
He has all of his image rights. That's one of the big things.
All of his image rights. He also mentioned in one of his interviews after the fact, one of his press conferences, Mbappe mentioned, he said like the sport is changing, and what we have to do as footballers in commercial ways is changing, and sponsors, there are new and sponsors that I don't always understand, that I don't always appreciate, I don't always like. And what this allows me to do is to choose who I work with and choose where I go and what I do. And we were just talking last week about Messi taking every check that comes in the door. And maybe Mbappe, you know, it's a silly example because Mbappe doesn't sign autographs, you know, for trading cards. Maybe Mbappe says, you know, when I'm at PSG, I don't have to sign trading cards if I don't want to. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I value my independence to do what I want to do more than I value being a Real Madrid player.
Yeah, fair though. That is fair.
It is fair.
But it's a change in European football for sure. It's a bit mad. But Mbappe's career is sad because he was this kind of absolute phenom at Monaco, and that's when you kind of wanted to see him go to a giant club and get excited about it. But he went to PSG, and it was kind of like that's delaying seeing him at a real club, if you know what I mean. And that has just been prolonged way longer than anyone thought it would be.
But I think, and I totally get it. I mean, I was listening to the Spanish football podcast, and one of the guys, I think it was Sidlow, was making this point. Right, basically, he was saying like, if Mbappe was to go to Real Madrid now, and he was to win 2 or 3 European Cups over the, you know, 2 or 3 Champions League over the next 10 years or so, right? He would and score loads of goals and do everything at Real Madrid. He still probably wouldn't be, when he left or when he retired, he would not be the greatest player in the history of Real Madrid. Do you know, he would be one of a number of players, and winning 3 or 4 Champions Leagues in those 10 years or 15 years would be what was expected of him. He would be a great player in Real Madrid's history. Whereas at PSG, if he wins the Champions League, if he does various things, PSG is only a 50-year-old club. You know, they've never won a European Cup. Like, he can make this he can be a whole club almost. Do you know?
Yeah, he can be the legend of the club, the same way you look at Pele at Santos, or you look at Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid, Messi at Barcelona.
Exactly. He's never going to be, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid, or, you know, even someone like Alfredo Di Stefano at Real Madrid. Like, he's not going to be that guy. Whereas at PSG, I think I'm just speculating, maybe he feels like, this is my club, my home. We're going to do something here that's going to put a new player on the map. You know, maybe he's thinking, he's from Paris. Maybe he's thinking, you look at the amount of players like Christopher Nkunku, won Bundesliga player of the season. He's Parisian. Mike Maignan, Parisian. Both came through PSG's system. Could have stayed at PSG. Maybe Mbappe is looking and saying, like, I know the amount of talent in this city, and what we're going to do here is create, you know, a club to the stature of AC Milan, you know, or Real Madrid or Liverpool. But then again, it's only a 3-year deal, and he's only 23. So he could go in 3 years' time to Real Madrid, and people are saying, well, they wouldn't accept him. Florentino will never forgive him and all that. But I don't think that's realistic. I think whatever happens in 3 years' time, if Mbappe says, I'm coming on a free, you say, great, we'll see you in June.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, you give him a kind of a bow and you say, oh, great, thank you. Oh, great one.
The king of power, the king of powers.
So I don't know. I think card price wise, this definitely hurts his short-term prices.
Yeah, but the World Cup will probably change that.
And I also think maybe, like, because when Man City were winning the league there, and then all this stuff was going on at PSG, and obviously if Newcastle, they're going to be buying up players now as well. And for people that have come into the sport in the last kind of, you know, 2 to 3, maybe even 5 years, this Petro club things, like, you and I look at Mbappe turning down Real Madrid and go like, what? Do you know? But there was probably people in the, you know, as Serie A's dominance was coming to an end in the 90s, and players were going to Barcelona and Real Madrid or were going to England, there was probably people going like, he doesn't want to go to Inter, he doesn't want to go to Milan. Why?
Yeah.
Do you know? Doesn't want to go to Sampdoria, whatever. So like maybe it's for collectors that are newer to the sport that have gotten into through cards. Maybe they don't have this kind of hang up about, you know,
the status quo.
And maybe long term, Mbappe will be seen as a man who built a club, and there's no reason to be suspicious of that.
Okay, I think France needs to do a better job of building the league, not just Paris. You know?
Yeah.
Because if you're just winning year in, year out without proper competition, I know they actually have had competition with the Monacos, with the Leos, etc. But Montpellier a few years prior to that as well. You know, it's a bit different. Like they need to do it on the European stage. Like that's it, point blank period. And I feel like maybe Mbappe would be embarrassed to leave France without winning the Champions League. Yeah,
I think that might be what he's feeling. Because like if he was to go to Real Madrid and win the Champions League, then like it would almost be the status quo would remain, the power balance would remain. PSG would still be a kind of a tier 2 European club, would still have that stigma around it. Whereas once they win their first one, then things have changed, you know?
Yeah. But I also think if you look at it, like if I'm him, Real Madrid just won the league, they're potentially going to win the Champions League. If you move this summer, you have to win league and Champions League next year or you fail.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Wait for them to struggle a bit, get knocked out with Champions League semi-final, and then go, I'll go off to Real Madrid. I'll help you. So it's a mixed bag. He's 23. That's the thing. You might say, listen, I signed a 3-year deal. I'll stay for 2 and I'll dip.
Yeah.
For 200 million.
We don't know. So there the question is, I mean, Real Madrid have been saving up for Mbappe for a couple of years now. And we're going to spend, you know, if Mbappe had told them this a month ago, maybe Erling Haaland goes to Madrid instead of to Manchester. We don't know. He's the obvious backup if you don't get Mbappe.
Yeah.
But he's in Manchester now. So then the question is, who do they go for?
Nkunku.
It could be Nkunku. It could be a Darwin Nunez. It could be a Mo Salah. You know, we don't know. So whoever does go, there's some whoever has the inside track on who goes to Real Madrid to be their next, you know, guy could see a boost in prices. So it's an exciting summer ahead, even though Mbappe has decided to stay in Paris.
Yeah, even though Mbappe fucked it up a little bit.
A little bit.
Interesting. But we have the Haaland transfer. So
we have the Haaland transfer.
We have to see how that goes on. Instead of it both happening same window, we get to kind of have them spread out, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all we have for now. We're going to be kind of rounding up. I mean, like on Saturday, we have the Champions League final. But we'll talk about that on Monday. Wednesday, we have the Conference League final between Feyenoord and Jose Mourinho's Roma. We'll talk about that next week as well. So, yeah, we're going to spend the next few weeks kind of just wrapping up the season and dealing with some of the fallout. And then we'll figure out what to do over the summer. Last year, we took a break for like 2 weeks in the summer, so we'll tell you if we're doing that. Enzo, good luck traveling.
Thank you so much. I am very tired. I need to get my shit together and go to the airport.
We have to. Do you know what we have to get? We have to get a thumbnail for the video version.
Okay.
So I don't know what. Maybe do like. All right, we got it.
We did it.
We'll see you on Thursday for Postcards United. Everybody, don't forget to check out soccercardsunited.com for all your hobby box needs.
Yeah.
Bye, Enzo.
Bye, Jason.